Okay, so let's start off with the obvious, the first movie. While I'm sure we'll learn more about what took place prior to the 2001 original, since Dom's brother shows up in F9, everything starts in 2001. Unless we want to talk about Dom's father dying in a race car crash in 1989, this is a pivotal moment in his life, and I only bring it up because there's a very real chance we'll actually be flashing back to this moment in F9. Anyway, my boss says I have 8 minutes to get all this quality mythology deep into your skulls, so back to 2001. Dom and his sister Mia run a garage in Echo Park, while he also moonlights as a criminal, stealing DVD players and what have you with his crew, comprised notably of his girlfriend Letty and childhood friend Vince, among others who we don't really care about for the sake of brevity. They're also street racers, which is how they're introduced to Brian O'Connor, who is in fact an undercover LAPD officer looking to get in with the gang and nail them for their literal highway robberies. If you've seen Point Break, you know the score. Brian winds up getting friendly with Dom and extra friendly with Mia, and in the end, lets Dom go after an exciting botched robbery and brotastic final street race.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
So, Too Fast, Too Furious. In this first sequel, Dom is out and Brian's now a criminal, having been charged in the short film Turbocharged with aiding and abetting Dom. In Too Fast, we meet Roman Pierce and Tej Parker, with Roman notably being Brian's childhood friend. To be honest, they're all you really need to take away from this fun, basically standalone film. Bunch of racing heist stuff happens, guns go pew-pew, and I'm pretty sure it ends with Brian committing a felony. Next up, Part 4. What's that? Where's Part 3? Come on, man, you know where this is going. Don't pretend. In the confusingly titled Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel returns to the Fast saga, swooping in after Universal gave him the rights to the Riddick franchise. This is the last film that really feels out of place with what would come, but long story short, in the connecting short film Los Bandoleros, we see that Dom has spent the years since his escape from LA south of the border, where he's been doing his usual high-speed criminal routine along with his newish friend, Han. We also meet the less important but hella fun characters Santos and Tego, who would continue popping up throughout the franchise whenever the team needed a little extra help, and comedy relief. At the end, Letty shows up having tracked down Dom, and they get married. The gang then teams up for a job to steal gas for a small Dominican town. That short ties into the opening of Fast and Furious, wherein Dom and Han temporarily split ways as the cops come down on their operation. This leads Dom to be a grade A douche and leave Letty while she sleeps, and next thing we know, she's been quote-unquote murdered. He returns to LA for the funeral, where we find out Brian is now an FBI agent, which, sure. This time around, he's not tasked with bringing down Dom. Instead, he's recruiting him to bring down a drug lord by the name of Braga, as you do. Anyway, it eventually turns out Letty didn't actually die. Her supposed killer, Calderon, shot the gas tank and blew up the car she was trapped in, throwing her into the nearby bushes and giving her amnesia. Master criminal Owen Shaw is sent by Braga to finish off Letty, but winds up recruiting her instead. Now, Letty had been working for the FBI undercover to help nab Braga, and so Dom agrees to help. Bada bing, bada boom, some drama, a wild Gal Gadot, and one abandoned mine chase later, he's taken down and Dom is sentenced to 25 years in prison because the FBI is full of jerks. Brian resigns from the FBI and he and Mia break Dom out, leading us into Fast 5. Down in Rio de Janeiro, the trio take part in a sick-as-all-heck train robbery organized by old friend Vince. Hi, Vince. Turns out it's just to get a chip for a drug lord. Bad Vince. This leads to a confrontation with the drug lord Hernan Reyes, whom they decide to steal from by literally robbing him of his entire vault, located inside a police station. Complicating things is the arrival of Dwayne Johnson's DSS agent Luke Hobbs, who along with his partner Alina, is there to take down Dom's crew. In the midst of these confrontations, Vince is killed. Bye, Vince. This all leads to one of the best, most outlandish car chases in the franchise. As part of this heist, Dom and company bring in pretty much everyone. Han, Roman, Tej, Gal Gadot's character Giselle, Tego, and Santos. Indebted to Dom for helping bring down Reyes after that D-bag kills the non-Alina members of his team, Hobbs lets the whole crew go with a 24-hour head start. Later, in a post-credits sequence, we learn, along with Hobbs, that Letty is still alive. Ooh, drama. In Fast and Furious 6, we finally learn about what happened to Letty that night, just in time to complicate matters for our rich heroes. Since Fast 5, Dom and Alina have driven off into the sunset, i.e. they boink, and Brian and Mia are doing the whole family thing. Oh yeah, in 5 it turns out Mia's preggers. Good job, Brian. All very sweet and nice, until Hobbs shows up with that tantalizing Letty nugget and the offer of full amnesty for everyone involved if they help take down Shaw. Enter Dom's team, including Han and Giselle, who are quick to fall in love. only for Giselle to die in the big finale airplane sequence. Shaw is horribly injured, Letty has rejoined the fam sans memory, the team is forgiven of their past crimes, and Han heads to Tokyo. Anyway, this brings us to Part 3, Tokyo Drift, in which all of Japan is full of hipsters who strictly dress in clothes and use tech from 2006, despite it retroactively taking place roughly 10 years later. New character Sean Boswell, whose accent is somehow 100% real, is sent to Tokyo to live with his dad after he gets into trouble racing cars back in the States.
I ain't got no cash, man. And I ain't an army brat.
Also, he's in high school. Look, these are highly unrealistic movies, okay? Anyway, Sean quickly ingratiates himself with the local street racing scene and meets Han, who has made a name for himself with shocking speed, all things considered. We wind up with a whole Yakuza plot, but that doesn't matter quite as much as what's going down without our knowledge. See, Owen Shaw's brother Deckard is looking to get some revenge, as we see in the stinger for Fast and Furious 6, in which he slams into Han's car during a big chase sequence and appears to kill the crap out of him. He calls Dom during this travesty, leading to the events of Furious 7. Oh, and Sean becomes Drift King and junk, it doesn't matter. Anyway, 7. After kicking Hobbs' ass and killing Han, Deckard continues his spree by blowing up Dom's house and basically starting an international war between the whole Fast family and, well, Jason Statham. Which, honestly, good odds on either side. Dom heads to Tokyo where he races Sean, as seen at the end of Tokyo Drift.
I didn't know he was into American muscle.
He was when he was rolling with me.
Sean gives him some belongings of Han's, including Dom's cross necklace and a photo of Giselle. Sad face. He takes Han's ashes back to LA, and in the midst of the funeral, he winds up in a street chase with Shaw, and after some macho back and forth, they're interrupted by mysterious government agent Mr. Nobody. Shaw escapes, and Nobody sends Dom and his team around the world to help him obtain God's Eye, a program that basically turns all electronic devices into the perfect tool for tracking down anyone. Along the way, they pick up hacker Ramsey and God's Eye itself, and this brings them into a final confrontation with Shaw, whom Dom defeats and sends to prison. Brian, meanwhile, retires from the crime game to focus on his family in a fitting tribute to the late Paul Walker. Fate of the Furious then rolls around and introduces us to Cypher, who is basically the Blofeld of the franchise. She's a super hacker crime lord boss of all bosses who forces Dom to turn on his familia after kidnapping Alina and her baby, whom Dom didn't know about. He betrays the team during a mission with Hobbs and helps Cypher retrieve God's Eye and eventually use a nuclear submarine to almost start a war. It's complicated. The whole team has to come together and save Alina and Dom's offspring, as well as Dom's very soul. Alina? She's dead. Yeah, can't be having any extraneous characters. No, sir. Watch yourself, Roman. Anyway, the final result is Cypher escapes after her plan is foiled, Letty gets her memory back, and Deckard, with help from Owen and their mother, retrieves and hand-delivers Dom's bebe, whom he names Brian.